Yo, welcome back to another episode of On Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we're joined by a very special guest, a reoccurring guest from, I believe it was last summer, last August that we had you on right before the season, Bully. But we have Michael Bullion back on the show. Played for the Norfolk Admirals, Macon Mayhem this year, and the Savannah Ghost Pirates all throughout this season. So I'm glad to get him on again. Like it's been a crazy busy summer schedule that we've had to plan multiple times, but I'm glad to get you on. But Bully, what's up, dude?
Hey man, how's it going? Pleasure to be here. Love being back on the podcast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going good. You know how it is. Like you're in mid season, mid off season grind right now. It's probably halfway through the off season right now. So, how's everything with you?
Man, it's been good. It's been a wild summer. Um, you know, definitely a lot of kind of different training than I'm used to. Actually today I was just at an eye exam, doing some stuff for that. So yeah, I'm changing up a little bit of how I'm doing things. Savannah gave me a lot of cool stuff to work on this year, so it's new, but no, it's been really good.
Yeah, it's like what's your off season schedule like, and like what are some of the changes that you're doing that you're putting into your off season program so far?
So this year, the last few years, I've kind of focused a lot on like skating a ton, and then you kind of get into the season when you're doing that, and you don't always come in with as much of a pep in the step as you think you would.
Yeah.
So this year, I'm focusing a little less on the amount of skating, more on quality of reps, and then a lot more on how I am in the gym, maintenance work, although it's not really maintenance work. It's like building the foundation to do maintenance work later down the line. And then a lot more on vision training, hand-eye, things like that and also like a bunch of quick feet drills, some things like that just build up some of those tinier skills that we don't always focus as heavily on, or we just kind of add them as supplementals, and I'm kind of treating them more as like foundational blocks now.
That's a great, like, because when you're in the season, like you're skating what every day, like on game days, like you have two skates through the game, and then morning skate if you go out, so you're seeing a lot of pucks and you're being on the ice a lot. So just to be able to have that off, have like your time be off the ice during the off season and focus more in the gym. Like I see that as very, very beneficial, especially since your hips, your groins won't be as sore when you start compared to when you're in season, you're just going at it every day.
For sure, for sure. No, it's again, it's one of those things that especially for young goalies you see, and young players, just kids kind of going to the OHL too. Our bodies work so well, back then, and we take it for granted, and then later on down the line we're like, oh boy, like now I gotta like quit doing all this stuff. And it's like, I'm grateful for the fact that like my dad and my goalie coaches and my physical or my personal trainer, kind of pushed me to do a lot of that stuff. So I understand a lot of it, and it's now just like, okay, now we're gonna take all the knowledge that I've gained, and then we're just gonna expand it,
Yeah.
and not just expand it, but also focus more heavily into it. So
Yeah, I agree there. And like for me, like usually at this time I'd be like on the ice 4 or 5 times a week, and now I'm touching the ice maybe twice. And it's like it's a huge difference for me, but like because I'm like a workhorse. Like I always want to be on the ice doing stuff, but like even just not be on the ice, like it's difficult for sure for me. But like just to be in the gym, work on a little more on mobility, like building up, like you said, like the foundational strength is just huge for the off season. It's gonna make like I personally feel the best I have during the off season as of this point. So why change something that's not broke?
yeah, seriously, no, it's an amazing point right there. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I know last year was pretty good for you too. You had some success. You're getting some call ups, man. I was really excited watching the progress there. I was really happy for it, man. It was great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's the grind. Just go every day. Go have fun because there's nothing better. There's nothing that beats playing hockey for a living, and just to be able to be out there and play the game.
Oh, for sure. 1,000%.
Yeah, like that. That's like my biggest mindset is just don't don't take it for granted, obviously, but just go out there, have fun, and just like you're a little kid. Just go out there, have fun, and everything else is gonna come to fruition.
I think that's one of the things that always gets me. That's actually kind of part of my mindset as well. And it's why I skate so much, is because I'm like, I still have that like little kid enjoyment of the
Yeah,
game, and sometimes it's like I gotta rein that back, because I'm
yeah.
like, I want to skate too much. I want to like be out there like way too much. And then I'm like, okay, like chill out.
2 years ago, I was probably on the ice running doubles like 3 times a week, 2 hour skate. So it's like, how was I able to do that and stay healthy throughout that entire time?
I wish I was still that young.
Yeah, definitely getting older. But this off season, you've also like explored a bunch of cool places, like we are talking about at before this episode. You went to Europe for a little trip, a river cruise. Like how was that?
I mean, it was amazing. Like, I was mentioning it to you earlier, but a big thing over there is just like the way they live their life is so completely different from how we live over here. And it's like little things, like they're far more focused on like using everything, that things like the portion sizes, they just aren't as big. Um, Depending on where you go, it's like you ask for water and they like look at you funny, and they're like, well, I guess here you go. Here's a bottle of water. That'll be $5. And you're like, really? Like, oh, I had gotten a drink then, I guess. But like, the just everything about the way they live just has this emphasis on just relaxation and not being like so over the top competitive. And it's definitely refreshing over there. There's aspects of it I like. I think I still prefer a more driven competitive environment, because that's what I come from. But when you go over there and see it, there's definitely aspects of that you can take from life. It makes you want to savor the little moments a little bit more. I notice it just like sometimes I'll be driving for like an hour to get to a place. Like my gym is about 50 minutes from my house. And last summer, sometimes, the grind, like it
Yeah.
just gets to wear on you, and you're sitting there like, oh, like, why do I have to drive this far? This summer, it's like, enjoy the drive. I'm gonna blast some loud music, roll with the windows down, like look out, see the scenery, throw the car in cruise control, and just enjoy and breathe in and live a little bit more. So I think that's kind of one area where I've really focused on in my life, is just improving, is just being a little more present.
Yeah, that's big. And like there's nothing like just putting on music and just going for a drive. Sometimes you're just driving, like you zone out for a little, you're in that zone, and and then you're like, oh shit, and you come back to reality where it's like, well, how did I get here when I was just over there?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, that happens to me all the time. That I'm like, wait, did I fall asleep or something? Like, am I good? Any cops behind me or something?
We're all good. But like what was the coolest place you visited over in Europe?
Um, I guess I'll give two answers, because like we flew through Iceland, and Iceland to me, natural beauty wise, is just like next level stuff. It reminds me a lot of Alaska. It's very similar terrain, but I mean, they just have the way they live, the way that things work over there, just the way everything looks is just incredible. I mean, it was truly breathtaking. My fiance wasn't the biggest fan of it, because they have a lot of fish over there. She doesn't like fish, but for me, I was in heaven, because obviously growing up in Alaska, there's nothing but
Yeah.
fish. So, me and we all had a great time there, and that was awesome. But then, in terms of like urban beauty, I would say probably Cologne. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the cathedral over there,
Yeah.
but it is worlds apart from most of what's on the planet, and you just look up and you're still looking up, and like the spires are still going, and you're like, how did someone, like, how was this built by hand,
Yeah.
like how did someone get up there on like this little tiny like scaffold and just like build this thing? And I would have had a full-on panic attack, probably fallen off. So but no, I loved it there, and the food over in Germany was fantastic, and that was to my girlfriend's or my fiance's taste. She sausage, potatoes, that's her kind of meal right there. So yeah, we had a great time there for sure.
Yeah, it's just awesome seeing, like, I've seen like pictures of the cathedral, but like I guarantee you there's nothing like seeing it in person, like you said, and just being able to look up and be like, how did someone actually, how was this handmade by someone, handcrafted, and like, because it's big. Like, I as well would not want to be up there. I'd be terrified of falling over.
Oh man, it's like I would struggle to make anything look like as nice as they did on the ground level, and then they're
Yeah,
doing that, like 1,000 feet in the air. I'm
incredible.
like, incredible, and it's not going to happen for me. So,
No, absolutely not. But would you ever go over to play hockey overseas, or
oh, for sure.
would that be an option, like in a while away or in the near
Yeah,
future?
100%. I've always wanted to try it out over there. I don't think it'll be too soon. Um, because I still want to pursue the goals in North America that I have, but yeah, I definitely would I mean, at the very least consider it, but most likely, yeah, I would love to end up over there one day, and play. I'd definitely love to end up in Germany. I've always kind of wanted to play in Germany. I think that would be a really neat area. Obviously you could look at Sweden, some places like that,
Yeah.
but I think Germany would definitely be like one of those. I'd be like, ooh, like for sure. How about you?
Yeah, I definitely, like, that would be like a bucket list goal, is to like eventually get over to, like, I don't know why, but I'd love to go to Sweden, like Germany's up there as well, Finland, like,
Oh yeah.
honestly, anywhere, honestly, like, just being like in that atmosphere, like the soccer atmosphere, like it just seems like a whole different atmosphere than over here in North America. So I eventually, in like the future, want to definitely get over to play some puck overseas.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love that. It's a good answer right there, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely a bucket list goal. So hopefully we make that happen sometime.
absolutely, man. Maybe we'll be goalie partners, That'd be sick.
Yeah, that would be sick. That'd be awesome. But you spent, like, let's go on to this season a little bit here. So like, how would you describe your 22-20 or 2022-23 season?
Um, I would say it had some ups and downs. I would definitely say it had some ups and downs. I kind of came into the season. I was in some ways I was over prepared, and in other ways I was underprepared. A big thing I struggled with off the hop was my gear. To be honest with you, I was using like a demo set that I got from my gear guy because I was trying out the Bowers, and I messed up the order. It was my fault. But my new gear that I was supposed to get at the start of the year didn't end up coming in until December, January.
Halfway
So
through the year.
halfway through the year, when I was like, it was like, yeah, it was pretty quickly after I was already onto a different team. So it was like the colors didn't even work anymore. And I was like, oh, but yeah, no, I mean, it was one of those things that like sometimes you just gold go in here or there, you just look at and you're just like, I would have made that save, but like the pad folded under me or
Yeah.
did whatever. And so I was definitely struggling a little bit with some things like that. Which again, I've talked with my family and my goalie coaches, like that's on me. That was something I made a mistake on. Um, and for me, the validation was there. It was like once I got the new gear on, I think my save percentage went from like averaging like not great to pretty good. And then obviously when I went to Macon, it was like amazing. And then when I went to Savannah, it was really good too. So it was a nice little bit of validation that it was like, hey, let's learn from the mistake of like showing up to camp with adequate gear. But moving on from, minor gear issues, I think, starting off the year in Norfolk, I went through camp, things were looking up pretty well. The thing was, it was like me and Jeremy Berder who were kind of competing for that backup goalie spot. All the love to Brody in the world. Like, he was a great competitor about it, but at the same time, he was super chill. Like, he never made it a big deal. He never pretended or he never kind of threw that in the face or anything like that. And then they signed an affiliation like 48 hours before camp or something like that, 24 hours before camp. So then it was like, we're getting another goalie down. And, I could see it in him. He was just like, well, time to move on to the next team. And I was kind of like, I really want to stay in Norfolk. And I was battling hard to stay and to, make it work. And, to both Rod Taylor and Jeff Carr's credit, they kept me along, and they told me, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be the next day, it might not be a month from now, but we'll get you in. You're gonna get your games, and like no doubt about that. And they were right. It was one of those things where I think like 9 games in, Rod got fired, and Jeff, he immediately, I think he played Vomi 1 or 2 games in a row, and then Vomi got sick, and it was like, boom, I'm in. And it was like, boom, 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 I'm playing tons of games. And that was just like, it was a lot off the start, because like, obviously you're kind of cold. You've been sick, you're getting like minimal reps in practice, getting inside work as much as possible. But like, it was tough, but having that faith from Carzy and me was really nice. And yeah, so like things kind of picked up there for a little bit, but there was a lot of turmoil within the team. Obviously Rod had his guys, Carzy had some of his own guys, but not too many. And so there was a little bit of indecision there with what was going to happen. And so, I mentioned earlier, we went through a lot of guys, pretty quickly, and the team changed a lot. We were kind of, Carzy hadn't gotten to institute his systems in yet. So like, he was kind of doing that on the fly. He was trying to get video meetings set up and all this stuff set up. And the games just, how it is, like the games pop up, like they just get quick. And I think by the time that he kind of had his team the way he wanted it, with his system the way he wanted him to, it was like, we were pretty close to being out of playoffs already. So, that was kind of the tough part there, but he brought in a lot of really good dudes. Tanner Shackle, another Alaska boy. He and I got along really well. Cal Fryer trained in the summer with him. DJ King, he was awesome. So, I got a little chaotic there. But once I got to Macon, like after they had Cale Morris come back down, we had 2 goalies again. They were going to stay for, I think they ended up staying for almost the rest of the year. Cale, I think, got called up like 1 or 2 times, and I think Vomi got called up once, and it was very brief for all of them. I went to Macon. Nick Neidart brought me in, and he he calls me and he's like, "Hey man, like come on down. Like, we're gonna play you right away." I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is great." Thinking to myself, like, there's no chance I'm gonna play. There's no absolutely 0 chance I'm playing tonight. No chance. Like, I drove basically all night until like, I think 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. We get there. He sets me up in like a really nice hotel, and he goes like, "We're gonna do a morning skate, just you and me in the morning." And I didn't know anything about needs. I don't even think I knew he was a goalie. And he's like, "You know what? We're gonna get on the ice. This is gonna be great." So he's running me through some drills, and I'm like, "Oh, this is pretty fun." I'm like, but I still feel like pretty garbage. I'm all night. Haven't played in
like 5 hours of sleep.
5 hours of sleep. Haven't had much time. And like, he was just, he came in the room after the skate, and he's like, "You gonna play tonight?" And I'm like, "Honestly, man, I don't think so." Like, and in my mind, I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, if this goes wrong, it goes really wrong. Like this, that validation of like, I can play.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. And he came back in and he's like, you sure you don't want to play? I'm like, I'm sure I don't want to play. Like, I'm positive I don't want to play. And he comes back in and he's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how mad would you be if I played you tonight? I'm like, I wouldn't be mad. And he goes, do you believe in yourself? I'm like, of course I believe in myself. Like, what am I going to say to that, Needs? And he
No,
goes,
I
all
do
right,
not.
So I'm sitting there, and the game's early too. So we had like a morning skate at like 8 o'clock. So I've had like barely any sleep. I had to check out of the hotel, and the game was at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So Jada and I are together at this point. Jada's my fiance, and because she had come down to help me with the drive. So we're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I got to take a nap before we had to check out of this
Yeah.
hotel. Like, Jada, just order me IHOP or something. Like, just bring it to the room, whatever. I don't care. Just get something here so I can eat it before the game. I wake up like an hour later and I'm looking at Jada and she's like, yeah, they canceled the order 5 minutes ago. I'm like, you're kidding me. So I'm like, I have no pregame, no nothing. I'm like, Jada, we got to find something. She's like, there's a Dunkin' Donuts like 5 minutes away. So we go through this Dunkin' Donuts, I get a sausage croissant, like breakfast sandwich. And I show up to this game. I'm sitting there munching a croissant breakfast sandwich in the parking lot with my fiance. And like Needs is there. And Needs just looks at me and he's like, get in here. And so we just walk in and yeah, man, I went in, warmed up, had an amazing game, won in shootout. And it was just like, after that, I was like, wow, like what a way to overcome the fear. And he's like, I knew you
Yeah.
could do it. He's like, I just saw you were scared. So I just needed to force you to do it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And it was just, and then after that, you get to Savannah, it's similar things where you're constantly being put in situations where, hey, this guy is not feeling well today. You got to play. And it's like, oh boy. But I'd faced that fear and kind of overcome it and learn to deal with it. So it was pretty nice. I mean, I definitely have a lot of gratitude for Needs. He helped me out big time in more ways than one.
Yeah, that's awesome just to have a coach like that, especially a goalie, because he knows everything about what you're going through. Like you said, like he knew that you were scared and that he like pushed you a little bit or he didn't push you, but like he was like trying to get that confidence in you that you can play, and then you go in, win the game on a Dunkin' pregame meal, and it's just like that's just what it's all about. Like that's just awesome that it happened that way, and you're able to get in there, get your foot wet, and then you're fine the rest of the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then again, he played me back-to-back games in Vietnam and did really well there. Unfortunately, they lost the video of the last game, but because that was my best one there. But yeah, no, and then he just kind of called me the morning after the bus ride back from Fayetteville, and he was like, "Hey, Savannah like needs a guy. One of their goalies got injured. You want to just go up for? It's going to be a quick call up. You're going to be there 2-3 days." I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, I'll take it." And he's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to jump on that." He's like, "All right. Well, I'll see you in a couple days." So he left like a bunch of stuff in Macon. We drive over because it's like a 2-hour drive, and yeah, we ended up getting our stuff back. I think a week after the season ended. So we never we never got to go back. But no, again, it was a lot of the success I had last year was really, part ways like Needs was responsible for a lot of it. He really
Yeah.
helped.
Yeah, so then you go up to Savannah where you play in like 18, 19, 20 games, something like that, after after being with Norfolk for 14, 15 games, getting cut, then going to Macon, playing three strong games there, and then getting that call up back to Savannah. So like what was those first couple games like in Savannah, especially since they are a new team in Savannah? Like what's the city like the what's the hockey like around in Savannah and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, Savannah as a city is just incredible. I mean, if you ever get the chance to like go for a little vacation there or something like that, well worth your time. It's really cool, very, very historic. Jada and I were there the rest of the season, obviously, and we had a blast going to different places, checking out a lot of the museums and stuff. But No, I'd say in terms of a hockey city, there was a lot of doubt when they first put the team there because it's Savannah, it's the South, and there's no other real professional team there aside from the Bananas, who are also a treat to watch. But yeah, no, I was really stunned. I thought for sure when I got there it was gonna be dressed like a seat night every night, and kind of a very meh experience. And I'll be honest, it's the best, probably the best hockey experience I've had since playing like in the Oilers rink against the Oil Kings in the
Yeah.
dub. So I think we sold out like 35 times at home
Wow.
out of like 36 or something like that, or maybe it's 34 out of 36. But yeah, we like broke the league record for it, and it was mind blowing how great it was to play there. I mean, the fans are incredible. The organization is probably the best on the coast, or top three at the very worst. So no, it's an absolute treat. I mean, when you talk about feeling grateful, it was like I felt grateful to be in Norfolk. When I got to Savannah, I was like, man, I feel grateful to be here. And it was like, and it was cool too, because like one of my buddies from Norfolk who I'd played with the year before as well in Norfolk and Atlanta, we'd done two rookie parties together. We had bonded really well. Elijah Villio, he was there too, so we were just loving life, and we were hanging out legitimately every single day, up until he got injured, and then once he got hurt, obviously we wouldn't hang out on the road, but literally every single day we were together doing something. I'm sure we drove at least our athletic trainer and equipment managers nuts because we were probably the loudest two in the locker room at all times. But no, it was a, I would say, I want to go as far as to say it was a life-changing experience. I mean,
Yeah.
just the entire atmosphere of it and how they treated us, and they make you kind of value yourself a little bit more. Sometimes, you know how it is in the coast, you know how it is
Yeah.
in the right? Like you can lose some value for yourself. You really do get treated like a piece of meat at times.
Yeah.
And they Rick Bennett, like absolute credit to his name as well. He treats you like a human being, and I know he had to work on it. Just how to treat people, because it's very different from like the college where he
Yeah.
came from. He's from Union. Um, but he gave me a level of honesty and just like genuine care that I really hadn't gotten aside from needs. And so, it was like, wow, this is an amazing place to play. And it's like I could see why guys want to stay here.
Yeah. And Savannah's known for ghosts, and like their name goes hand in hand with what they're known for. Have you gone on the ghost tours in Savannah?
So we actually had me and Sasha Waugh, while he was there, we're planning on doing it. And we ended up, I think he was really tired that night. We ended up not doing it, but I really wanted to do it. So it's definitely gonna be on my bucket list to go back at some point and go on a nice ghost tour.
Yeah, because I was there 4 years ago, and we went on the ghost tour there, and it's like it's crazy, like the amount of like historic like stuff they have in Savannah, and like all the ghosts and everything, and it's really cool to just see. And like I remember when we were there, like the people were just trying to the like bystanders that were just past, the pedestrians that were just passing were just trying to scare you. I was probably like 15 at the time, so I was like, oh shit, like just stuff like that. But it's like it's once you get older, like it's really cool to just see like the historic site of Savannah, and like what it really is about. And then they have a whole new team called the Savannah Ghost Pirates, so that's fitting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's it is it does have that spooky vibe to it.
Yeah,
Because you have all the trees like hanging down and everything, and you're kind of looking around like, ooh, but
this is straight from a movie.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of movie scenes that I think
Yeah,
Forrest Gump was filmed partly
something
in.
like that.
Yeah, so it was yeah, no, really sick city.
So this was your first like full official pro years. Like, what were some of like the biggest takeaways that you had throughout the year?
I would say probably the biggest one is that I learned is that you really got to be able to ride with the flow of things, because sometimes you're going to be in great environments and other times you're not. And every environment is what you make of it. And I think I got to kind of do both extremes, where it was like, I didn't make the best of one environment and I made the very best of another environment. So, especially in pro, there's so many games. I mean, 72 game season, 82 games for the NHL, not counting playoffs. There's gonna be a lot of up and downs. I mean, it just, no matter what you do, it's just, there's tons of up and downs.
Yeah.
You know, uh, especially when you're in lower leagues, things like gear are much more of an issue than they might be in higher leagues. You're going to deal with a lot of stuff that's hard to deal with. Your mental health's not always going to be the best, and like we talked about earlier, sometimes you're going to value yourself less if you're not really careful. And so, it's just learning to ride that flow and just understand when there's downs happening, that there are ways to get through them, but you have to be willing to accept that, you got to put in the work. And it's not always you go into the rink and just like working on shots. Sometimes it's, you need to do stuff away from the rink, or you need to put in work at the rink after ice time. Other times it's like, hey, my body's not feeling great, I need to rest, and putting in the work to actually rest and like force yourself to rest. Yeah, I'd say that was my biggest takeaway this year. I mean, it's a heavy workload. You're going to see tons of people break down during the season, and you're not always going to have the opening night roster on. You're not always going to have your guns firing. You don't. Guys get called up all the time. Guys get cut. You're going to lose buddies. You lose a lot of buddies, but yeah, no, you just have to be okay with the situation in front of you not always being okay, and you just ride it. And the biggest thing was trying to make the ups and downs into ups and downs,
Yeah.
staying very flat and level. um I'd say, again, there's probably another takeaway I had was just, you gotta, and we talked about this earlier, but just savoring the moment, savoring the game, savoring the times. Hockey isn't forever, for all of us. Some guys got another year, other guys got 20 years. You don't know. But it can always end like that.
Yeah.
It can always end like that. And being able to enjoy the fact that it's like, in the coast, they pay for your living. You don't have to pay for your apartment, things like that. So sometimes you're up and put up in really, really nice places, and sometimes in very nice cities, i.e. Savannah. Savannah's a great town, and you can sit in your apartment and mope about how hockey's going, or you can get out on the town, check things out, go to a museum, in Norfolk, go to the USS Wisconsin, explore, experience things. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, 20 years from now, you're going to go, man, the only thing I remember from this place was hating my life.
Yeah.
Versus, I have a lot of great memories of hockey in Savannah, but I also have a ton of great memories of me and Jada in museums, me and Jada, going and trying different food places, me and Billy going and trying different food places, just having fun with the guys. And yeah, actually, I think the biggest person I learned that from was Nick Tuzzolino. He he's a bit of an older guy, but he was on our team as a defenseman. I actually used to watch him play, like when he was playing in the Aces. I was a kid
Wow.
play. It was really cool. I was so starstruck when I met him. I was like this. I was like, oh my God. you know, but he was just like, you know what? At the end of the day, man, just enjoy it. Because if you're not enjoying it, why are you here? And he's just
Yeah.
like, he's old enough now. He's got a family. He's got kids. Like, everything's an experience. And I think kind of part of that realization was like, for me, was like almost like, being able to abandon like some material things. Like
Yeah.
you don't need like Gucci stuff. You don't need like some of that stuff. It's like it's much better to spend your money on experience, you know, whether that be like traveling to Europe or playing paintball with some of your buddies. Like put your resources, effort, energy in things that, you know, create memories, will create life lessons that will teach you things about the world, teach you things about yourself. I mean, it's you have all these opportunities when you play in the coast. And I know a lot of guys who just their lives will consist of, you know, drinking, doing some things you shouldn't be doing, playing hockey, and kind of being a bum at home. Like they just kind of chill and they don't do much, and they don't get out. And I would just say, like, to people who are coming up that might be listening to this, the more you can get out and experience things and really try your best to make the most of wherever you are, the more memories you're going to have later on in life and the more fun you'll be having in the moment. And to me, that's when my hockey is at its best, when I'm enjoying myself and things are smooth and flowing. I mean, that's like perfect hockey for me.
Yeah, I love that, and like it's all true. Like you're like if you're not gonna be happy in one place, you're not gonna play that well, and you're gonna end up hating yourself or hating where you're gonna play. Whereas if you make the most of wherever you end up, whether it's not a great spot or not your team's not in a great place, but you're still making the most of going to the rink every day, like getting outside, explore the city, whatever it is, like it's gonna make life 100% more enjoyable, and going to the rink every day more enjoyable and stuff like that. And like it's just those are some of like the biggest things I've learned as well throughout the years. No one place is gonna be the perfect place that you're gonna experience. Like every place is gonna have their ups and downs. Like in the game, like you could be like I thought my first couple games were gonna go like just shut out, win, but that's not gonna happen. Come in, face 58 shots my first game, and like the next game I come in off the bench 9-2 halfway through the second period. I can sit there and complain and mope about everything, how the situation I'm going in, but still you still have a job to do. You still got to go in and stop the bleeding. Third game, face 75 shots, losing a shootout 5-4, 71 for 75. So it's just an up and down, up and down season, but you just got to enjoy going to the rink every day, being grateful that you actually get to play the game at a high level like that, and just make the most out of every opportunity that you can.
I mean, couldn't have said it better myself. That's wild though. 75 shots, seriously. Oh my
Yeah,
god. Against
that
who?
that game, Muskegon Voyagers, like that was one of the like it was my second start. Like I played all three games because I had to come in and relief the second game, and I think first period I had 28 shots on me. Second period I had probably another 30, 35 or something like that. We're down 4-0 heading into the third. We come back, tie it up with like 5 minutes left, tie it 4-4, face another 28, 29 shots that period. Going to overtime, face 5 shots and a penalty shot with like 30 seconds remaining because apparently my teammate covered the puck in the crease even though it was under my glove, which I'm not. It's past that, but then we go 4 for 5 in the shootout. So it's like crazy, crazy amount of events that occurred in that game. But it's just I had a lot of fun throughout that game. Like I probably had that was probably one of the most memorable games that I've ever played is just that game because who faces 75 shots in like a 3 period plus overtime game? Not that many people.
Not that many people. I'm sure like at some point you just were like you just kind of accepted. You're just like, all right, this is happening. This is the
Yeah.
way it's gonna be today.
And it's like
Tell us.
you just go into like the flow where it's just like you just flow. It's like whatever's coming at me, I'm gonna stop, especially after because it was 4-0 after two, and everything else like I stopped until the shootout. So I was like, you just get in that like that momentum, that flow, the flow momentum, I guess you could say, and you're just riding the wave like you've said in the past.
No, that's, I mean, again, I wouldn't say I had a similar game because that's mind-boggling. But I mean, yeah, I did have that same feeling in a game this year against Jacksonville. I mean, they came out hot. They were kind of all over us, and it was just not that we didn't play well, just like they
Yeah,
were hot. They were coming.
they're just buzzing.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, Parker Gahagan was in the other net for them, and he's probably the best goalie I've seen in the coast, I'd say. I mean, he's just like amazing technical goalie.
Yeah,
And I mean, we battled it out 0-0 going into the shootout. It's just like it was a crazy game. I think I had like 30 something, 38 shots or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it was just like I just gotten that feeling where I was like, no matter what's coming at me, I'm not even worried. Like I don't
no,
care. It felt easy that day. And I only let in one in the shootout. We ended up winning 1-0. I think we potted two in the shootout, and
ice.
it was I was like let's go. But I was at the same time, man. I was trying to replicate. I always want to replicate that feeling because it's
Yeah,
you just getting that vibe of like I feel
like you're
like
not thinking or anything. It's just like everything's just working the right way as you practice it,
oh
and
yeah.
it's just going in all in the right direction.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And it was and even beyond that, it was like, I think they had a couple 2-on-1s and some things like that. And it sometimes when you're kind of like on your heels a little bit, I was
Yeah,
like so on my toes. I was like, I'm ready to go. Like, let's get it. Let's go, boys. Like, I got this. You could just chill. I got this. I got this. It's fine.
yeah. Oh yeah. Because like in the end, like that penalty shot, I was like the exact same. Like I was frustrated in the moment for the getting a penalty for like a penalty shot in overtime, which could cost us the game right there. But I was like, as like I calmed down, I was like, I got this. There's no way that he's scoring. And he tried to go 5-hole, sticked it away into the corner, and I'm like, yeah, like we're all good. Like everything's going good right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's those penalty shots too, man. Like you just feel like such a top G right after. You're like,
Yeah.
let's go,
You just strolling in the corner, and you're like you got like that pep and that step where it's like you're confident and you're like I'm the man right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I'm the man right there.
Oh yeah, that it's a great feeling. But do you have any more of those stories where it's throughout the season that you could share?
Yeah, I definitely have. I think another one from I got one from Macon actually. It was the last game I played there. It was against Fayetteville. And one of those games where like my first shot on net, my D man. So like if the net's here, he came around the net and immediately passed right into the middle, right to their guy who got it. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Breakaway save. And it was like that's the way I started. I had so much confidence right
Yeah.
after that save. And I mean, I think we ended up going down like 2-1 at the end of the first. And then in the third period, I think it was like 2-2, and they were firing on all cylinders. Like I don't know if you know Brian Bowen, but he ended up going to Norfolk. He pretty good player, and he was there. And they had a couple other guys. I think they were like one of the more high powered offenses in the SP. So like our team was kind of like really on their heels, and they kept getting like breakaways, 2-on-1s, 2-on-0s. I'm sitting there like okay, boys, let's bear down a little bit. And then it just got to the point where I was just like, all right, this is fun. Like this is great. And they got a 2-0 like really close to the net with like 3-4 minutes left. And this is the video the game that got lost from like the video got deleted, and I was so bummed. But I was like shuffling down with him as he's coming down. He passed it across and went full split and like made the save. It was sick. And I think we ended up grabbing the puck, going right down and scoring.
Oh,
And I was
let's
just sitting
go.
there like, yeah, yeah, let's
That
go.
all started because me. It would have ended up in the back of the net if I didn't do that.
Exactly, man. And like, and you feel like the man, but again, it's like it's one of those like those memories that you just when you're really in the moment, when you're really present and savoring it and kind of like enjoying playing and being there. And especially like, you know, again, that game was we ended up having to check out of our hotel like really early. We had to sleep on the floor of the locker room it like before the game, which I'd never done before, ever. I was like, this is wild,
Minor
man.
league hockey for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, this is wild. And you know, and you have a million excuses as to why you don't have to perform. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's got a million excuses, and you'll see it always across the league, especially in minor hockey. I mean, in the show, maybe not so much. Like if you're
Yeah.
sleeping in a five-star hotel, but you know, you have every excuse, and it's like a mental battle every day to just
Yeah.
not you don't cut yourself that slack. And I feel like when you're the most in the moment, you don't even consider using an excuse. It's not even
Yeah.
like oh man, like I let that one in because I you know I slept on my back funny because we were on the floor of the locker room. It's
My
like
my back's hurting now and stuff like that.
exactly. And when you get in those modes where you're just like dialed in, it's like, man, that's not even an option, you
No.
know? And for me, I've always worked on like building the mindset of like, it doesn't matter if you sleep on the floor, if you sleep on the streets, whatever. If you didn't get any food, you got a Dunkin' Donuts croissant, you know, just being able to show up present and tune out all the distractions and just be like, I'm going to be the man tonight.
Yeah.
That's always where I try to build a mindset towards.
Yeah, that's the mindset you have to have, especially when you go through all those different adversities and everything, because you never know what's gonna happen. You just gotta be like, I'm the man and I'm doing whatever I can to get that win and help the team get those 2 points and move up the standings.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, and like I going off your Duncan thing, I remember one game. I think like I was with one of my buddies and we were like we didn't have anything for breakfast, so and we had like a noon game or something. We went to Tim Hortons and got like one of those sausage egg McMuffins and just chowed like two of those down, maybe some and then I got like an ice cold water there and like that was my pregame meal and like
Pre-game
usually
and
like pregame Timmy's like that's but it was good, but like it's like that's not good enough to get you enough energy to play the game.
yeah, oh, yeah. Well, see, that's where you messed up, man. You got to go with the farmer's wraps. Trust me. Sausage
Farmers
farmers
wrap.
Timmy's. Oh yeah, little hash brown, egg, sausage, some spicy mayo, some cheese.
I gotta
Yeah,
go for that next time I'm over there.
absolutely, man.
Yeah, but what's like your pregame like warm up? Like what's your pregame routine?
So I won't tell it in full just because I'm like that, but
Yeah.
I'll give you at least the most a pretty detailed breakdown from what I feel like I'll be okay to tell you. But yeah, big time. Like I show up really early. I have a very long warm-up process. Uh not for any reason other than I just enjoy being at the rink. I feel like it centers you. It you reduce the amount of time that distractions can kind of be around. It's like this is my job. I'm here. I'm gonna do this. So I show up, oh boy, usually around like 4 o'clock, 4:20, somewhere in there for a 7:30 game. Um, and generally what I do is like, you know, you get out of your suit, check out your gear, make sure everything's good, get the gloves on the heater if they haven't dried from morning skate or whatever. Um, I don't really eat a lot after my pregame meal at noon. Just because like I've always been I wouldn't say I digest particularly quickly. So sometimes it'll
Yeah.
sit there if I'm not careful. So I'm like, I don't want to feel like that. But I definitely crush a lot of coffee and stuff like that. Um, then I go through like a foam roll stretching routine that's probably 20-30 minutes. Um, moving from that, I'll usually grab like an apple, something like small. Just very minor, just quick sugars that you can burn off. And then I think we'll have pregame meeting from pregame meeting, it's like immediately into hand-eye stuff. So, kind of juggling balls off the wall, stuff like that. Then I'll warm up my glove. It's hard to warm up your blockers, so I just generally
Yeah.
will try and emphasize it in the hand-eye drills. Then a quick dynamic warm up, pretty much like 10 minutes before we're on the ice. Well, 15 minutes before we're on the ice, doing a dynamic warm up, right into the room, getting dressed, onto the ice. And then, yeah, just getting ready for the game from there.
Yeah, that's a great routine, pregame routine. Because like I'm kind of like the same way. Like I have like got a foam roll, got to stretch, got to do those dynamic stretches, and that probably takes, like you said, 20-30 minutes. And then, or I'd usually play. So like I'd get there 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours before the game. So that's around like 4 or 4:35 for a 7 o'clock game, like you said. And then get out of your suit, maybe go like do like a lap around like the concourse and all that. Get like I usually have like, if we're in a hotel, like I'll just get like one of the hotel teas and just bring that into the game, like usually like a green tea or something like that, like something that's gonna not be like too much caffeine, but it's gonna get you like a little bit more focus and like calm, just
Oh
relax
yeah.
a little bit. And then play sewer for probably 5, 10 minutes, then jump right into like the foam roll, the dynamic stretches, the stretching. And then with like 30 minutes to go before we're on the ice, I'll make sure that like, because like you never know when you might have like a skate lace come undone or something like that. So like I'll put on like all my bottoms, and then I'll go outside, go like do juggling like you do against the wall with my glove. And then with like 5 minutes left until we're on the ice, like put all my uppers on, and then go on the ice and do the same stretches, same like routine, like every single time I'm on the ice for pregame warmies.
See, I think that's kind of critical, honestly, is like, just you want to be flexible, and like in the sense of,
Yeah,
if something goes wrong, it's not going to like end the
yeah,
world. I had to actually work on that. I'll be honest. It used to be like, if my warm up didn't go perfect, it was like, oh my
yeah.
god, sweating.
Yeah, that was like me at the beginning of the season, but it definitely dialed down towards the end of the season when it's like you're just doing whatever you can to feel loose.
Exactly, and just making sure that, like, at the end of the day, you're trying to just show up at the highest level you possibly
Yeah,
can. So if you maintain consistency, your body knows, hey, the routine started, game time. Like, let's
yeah,
go. And the other big thing I found too this year was, moving from the warm up to after the game was how important cooling
yeah,
down. Especially, it was like, there was a lot of times this year where I was playing 3 games back to back, and it's like, you really need the cool downs. You're not cooling down. I mean, you're not showing up. It's just
yeah. No,
simple. So, that was one area I really worked on and improved, was just every single game. It was the same warm up, the same cool down, warm up skates, same warm up, same cool down, before and after, every single time, and just maintaining that level of dedication. And
yeah,
every coach I had this year mentioned it as like something they were impressed by. And that's not to toot my horn or anything like that. It's just to say that people do notice levels of dedication. They observe it, they pay attention to it. It is important.
yeah,
And especially for young goalies that may be working hard and trying to figure out ways in which they can either get to the next level or, impress that coach enough. It's like, easy way to do it, you know, be the hardest worker on the ice is obviously the go-to thing for people to say, but being the hardest worker off the ice is just as, if not more important. I mean,
yeah,
put yourself in the coach's face and show him your commitment level. Battle for every puck, obviously, but do a warm up before, warm up your hands before practice, warm up your hands before a tryout game or whatever. Be the guy who stays late at the rink because they're foam rolling and they're stretching and they're getting ready. And if you do that to impress a coach, and you maintain and learn that habit, then it goes from impressing coaches to, wow, my body feels way better when I'm
Yeah.
doing this. And honestly, I wish I'd learned those lessons at a much younger age, because there were times where, I didn't make teams because I thought, hey, the only thing I need to do is be the hardest worker on the ice. And I wasn't good enough. And I was like,
Yeah.
why is this not good enough? And there's your lessons right there.
It's the little things that really make the big difference, like doing that warm up, doing that cool down, just to help the body recover and like get ready for that game to play consistently and be a play at like a high level consistently like that. Just that's what it all comes down to, is like those small little details that actually end up like as you add them up, like those are the difference makers.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. I mean, I don't think you can ever stress how important, like, you can't
Yeah.
stress enough how important it is. I mean, the goalies who want it are there, and the goalies
Yeah.
who don't are there. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
but it's all,
Exactly.
you can always change it, especially young guys. It's never too late to change those habits, especially, you can't grow 6 inches. You can't just do it on
Yeah.
demand, but you can choose tomorrow to warm up a cool down.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. But the last part of this episode I have is like we're talking about earlier, like you have those ups and downs throughout the season. It's like, what are some of those like key things that you do to like help you stay in it when you do have those downs? And because at the end of the day, like those downs eventually you're gonna have to come up. So like what do you do to help yourself like stay like calm, not like get all antsy when you do have those downs?
Well, I won't lie, the biggest thing I have, well, that I've built is just an absolute support team. And I think any goalie who doesn't have a support team is doing themselves a disservice. And my support team is, what, 3 different goalie coaches, a mental coach. Uh, I I shouldn't call him a personal trainer. He's the guy who runs my gym, but he's awesome, and
Yeah.
I've used him for 8, 9 years. My parents, my fiance, coaches, friends, players. I mean, these are all people who you can draw on when things go down. And the biggest mistake I've ever made while playing is withdrawing from them all. And if you withdraw from your support staff, I mean, you are physically putting yourself in a pit.
Yeah.
You are creating your own down. But if you use the people who love you and care about you, and you give them that love back, and you really put effort into saying, hey, I need a little help right now. I need a little, maybe it's a technical thing. Maybe it's you just feel bad. You don't have enough energy, whatever it is. Use the people who care about you, and
Yeah.
make sure that you also give them that level of respect back. Understand that, if you rely on people, even if they don't necessarily rely on you, at least make them understand that they're important to you, and they matter. But having that support system is just so critical. You know, when I was going through a bit of a tough start, right when I started playing a bunch, we were playing in Newfoundland a bunch. Immediately, Zach Burke, Justin Peters, Dave Kennedy, they were all calling me, telling me what they saw in the games. They were going over clips with me. We were looking at different drills in practice that we could do to work on it. Looking at aspects of my stance that maybe needed to get tweaked a little bit. Hey, your movement's a little slow here. Get your feet under you more. Play a little with a little less depth. Things like that, and they were just right on it. And but it wasn't because I hadn't asked. I was asking.
Yeah.
You got to ask with sports staff. They don't know something's wrong if if they don't know, and if you don't tell them. So that for me is the biggest part in just managing that. But if I'm going to be honest, the other thing you can do is always just put the work in. But it's simple to say, but it's not as easy to do in practice. When it feels like it's a struggle to get to the rink and you just want to leave right after practice, those are the times where it's the most important to put the extra work in. you know Maybe the coach isn't really vibing with you, or doesn't like something you're doing. What I would do is, I I think there was one time this year in Norfolk, uh, I got scored on a couple high glove shots, and the coaches were like kind of frustrated with me, and I was like, ugh, like this sucks, right?
Yeah.
And so I took it upon myself the very next practice. Once we finished practice, I stayed on, an extra hour after practice. And once they were finished practice, I got off the ice, got undressed, right into my gitch, grabbed my glove, grabbed my black racket balls, directly to the gym, grabbed one of those little foam balance pads, set it down, got in front of a wall, and spent 2 hours just off the wall, every single time, working on high glove, working on tracking. And did it get perfect? No, of course not. But I got a little bit better. Those high glove shots stopped going in as much. And it just made me feel better about the situation because I felt like I was doing something about it. And the coaches happened to be near where I was sitting, saw it. Those are things that you can always do. At least if they see you putting in the work, and you're putting in the work. You're putting in real work, not just to oh, here's 5 ball tosses while the coach is looking
Yeah.
at me. You're putting in real work. They see you putting in real work. Maybe that gets you another opportunity. Maybe that gets you that one more chance that you need to just go out and just prove it,
Yeah, those are all really great answers. Like you said, to get another opportunity from that, just from doing that in front of and your coach happens to see. Like you never know. Like go above and beyond to help whatever you struggle with that game, and just do whatever you can to get better. Like you said, it's not gonna be perfect, but just that little bit better to make that difference in a game when it's could be 3-3 heading into overtime, and you got to make that save in overtime. And if you didn't do that, it'd be in the back of the net, and it'd be a loss after that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and just that support system, that's huge as well. Because I've also had that realization where the support system is huge, especially during the season. Like when I was home in Illinois from Michigan, when I was in Evansville as well, just stuff like that, just to be able to talk to your parents, talk to my goalie coach, my trainer, just my friends at school, even though I graduated last year, I still loved going to campus. And sure, everyone was like, why are you here? You're out of school. Yeah, but once I told them it gets me off the ice, and gets me to really because how this when you get into the season, especially those January, February, March days, it can take a toll on the ice. So just getting away from the rink and just being able to relax with your friends and just have their support and everything. I know they support me through everything. So it's just to have that support system also helps you get better when you do get on the ice for that next game and then next practice, just to be a little more dialed and a little more relaxed.
No, for sure. I mean, and also to that point is if you really want to look at NHL guys, just look at their off ice training. I know, you look at Gary Roberts, and most people know Gary Roberts, or Matt Nickel, who's another big name in Toronto area. They got tons of guys in there as staff to help, small groups of 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I mean, each guy's got a spotter, nutritionist, someone to basically carry the towels and stuff like that. I mean, they have a huge support system. So just that realization of if these guys have this massive support system, it's got to be important. It's got to matter. And so it's everybody's got to have that at the very least, just for your own personal mental health. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, it's the probably one of the most underlooked things as a goaltender or as an athlete overall. It's just that support group and having people that are in your corner.
Absolutely, man. Couldn't have said that better.
Yeah, but Bully, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you again for coming on for the second time on the podcast, and I always appreciate your willingness to come on. And good luck next season.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Been a pleasure.
Absolutely.